Yo, what's going on, guys? Your boy Pony Montana, and in this video, we are going to be going over how to perfect your user in college football 25. The user is the biggest part of your gameplay in terms of you becoming a better player and just dominating on the virtual gridiron. And this video, I'm going to drop some key tips for you guys to get better. Now, before I get into it, if you guys are new to the channel, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment down below, and hit that noti bell so you guys never miss an upload. And if you have nothing to comment down below, just comment FTA. It stands for the algorithm. It just helps us soar. It helps us soar, so become a part of the gang, man. Let's get it. Let's go. We're going to go ahead and hop into get my beautiful face off of the screen. So we're going to talk about who it is that you should be using first and foremost. Now, I am a firm believer that you use whoever it is that you are comfortable using, even if you want to be a D-line user. I am not against any of that. But statistically speaking, there has never been anybody that has won an MCS belt by using somebody that is on the D line. Now, while you can probably create a very solid scheme this year by being on the D line, especially with the introduction of the switch stick, this is going to be still something that you are going to want to be on the field with one of these more skilled players, one of the more agile players on the field, so that you can go ahead and cover a much broader side of the field. So again, you're just pretty much making it so that you're giving yourself more responsibility instead of being able to blame the CPU for the lack of adjustments that you made, and the lack of user that you have. You rather be on the D line and, maybe get a shed. Maybe you played D line in high school and middle school and stuff like that. You want to relive the glory days by being on the D line. But if you want to play at the highest level competitively, your user has to switch to one of these players that more than likely they're going to be in the middle of the field. So most people use a linebacker that's in the middle. Currently, we're seeing people use the safety when they bring them down. I'm currently doing that myself. But there's a lot of different ways that you guys can use her. But again, the main key is to pick the proper user. If you feel like you cover the right side better and you rather be in a flat, then go ahead, use one of those guys that's in the flat. If you like to cover the side where the slot receiver is, maybe that's something that you might be more comfortable in. Go ahead and do that. That's something that I'm gonna stress. I can't stress that enough, to just use somebody that's agile, but on the side of the field that you're more comfortable on. Not everybody's going to be comfortable using the middle linebacker, where they have probably the most responsibility on the field with not only stopping the run, but stopping, all the frustrating plays that happen in Madden. But if you use the slot, then now all of a sudden, now your side of the field becomes where that slot goes. Or if they run down, and then again, your user is going to be guarding that right side of the field, and hopefully you don't get pancaked by a lineman, excuse me, and then your user gets taken out of the play. But again, it's one of the main things that people need to get comfortable with, is who is going to be your user. Again, you don't have to not be on the D line if you don't want to, but again, if you want to play at the highest level competitively, one of the users should be one of the more agile people that can take away more on the field. Because if you end up playing a competitive player with this thought process of being on the D line, he or she will treat you like a solo, and you will be absolutely dominated, and it will end up being frustrating on your end. Now, tip number 2, when it comes to the user, do your job. We do one of these videos every single year, and I cannot stress it enough how important it is to do your job. So again, the entire game is made up of us having to do and perfect our adjustments. So let's say that I'm trying to run a certain kind of scheme here, right? And I'm using Penn here. I can't put Taviano in a different route? Okay, I guess I can't put him in a different route. But anyways, if this guy was playing deep blue here, right? I'm putting this guy here. I'm putting this guy in a hard flat here. Putting this guy in a purple, and I'm putting this guy in a deep blue here. And I'll put this guy in a deep blue going there, right? So then my user is going to end up, and now everything is actually changing. But again, the way that things should work when it comes to these games, and instead, we're just going to bring out the squigglies here. So say I got this guy going out here to guard here. I got this guy going back here to guard up here. I got this guy here to guard here, right? And my user is supposed to guard here, and there's a route that's coming across the field like that. Now, as your user, the only thing that you're supposed to be guarding is this circle right here. That is your hook, okay? That is a yellow zone. That's where most people user on the field is the hook zone, because they're going to sit there and make sure that they're going to guard the hook. They're going to guard that middle angling of the field and hope that the pressure comes in time for the sack or the tackle for loss or whatever the case may be. There are too many of us that over pursue these routes while we have so much coverage around everywhere else. Okay, it looks like a traffic light, but that's what we tend to do. And then once we do that, and this guy ends up being chased all the way across here, it leaves this entire middle of the field wide open for any other route to penetrate that specific section. So again, when it comes to becoming a good user, you just have to remember that you have to do your job. That's it. It's just a simple fact. It's a simple matter. It's something that will make you way better, and your coverage will end up having to shift towards that side that you start leaving open, because your user is going to make sure that it's doing its job. So again, you're going to end up making adjustments kind of like this, where you're sitting there, all right, deep blue here, this guy's guarding the flat, this guy's guarding the hard flat, this guy's guarding a yellow. So my user's right here. So I'm going to sit there and take away all this on the field. And then once it crosses that line, that threshold right here, I'm going to leave it alone, because I'm going to trust my team and the adjustments that I made to make sure that they're going to be guarding everything else that's on the field. And I know it looks a little bit crazy, but it's a little bit harder to do it without my squigglies. I love my squigglies, man. But that is a very crucial thing that you guys need to take note of. Know which side of the field you're on. Create little segments, create little quadrants, I guess, between the defense. So like, say you're able to guard this. Know where your quadrant is when it comes to this, okay? So your quadrant as a user that's supposed to be a yellow should be around here, depending on where your user is. You're not going to fully chase routes up to Timbuktu. That will just end up making your life way more frustrating, and it's going to just end up making your day pretty much 10 times worse. So again, create a little quadrant, or however far away that you can make your user work. Create that section, even if it's has to be lowered. So say turn the field into 6, right? So we have 6 sides on the field here, and make sure that your user is covering one of those squares in between that defense, and you will end up starting to play 10 times better, because you're going to start working towards that kind of process of working your job. Again, it's all about levels, it's all about schemes, it's a game of inches, man. And this is going to be something that will help your user work a lot more. Now, next thing, we're going to talk about baiting routes when it comes to becoming a user and being a better user. It goes hand in hand with the quadrant thing, but you're going to bait a route that's not in your system, that's not in your quadrant. So let's go ahead and just keep on drawing squigglies, right? So we got a route that's over here, right? Let's say the running back is going here, and this is our user, right? But we see that this angle route is coming across, but we know for a fact that it's going to take a little bit of time for this angle route to do what it's supposed to do. And if we're doing what we're supposed to do with our user, we're going to bait this route underneath, right? Because it's where we are right now. Our quadrant is right here, okay? That's our quadrant. So we're going to go ahead and bait this route right here. And then as soon as this angle route starts to come back, that's when we're going to take our user. And instead of going down there, we're going to run back here to this section, because remember, we're still in that yellow in the middle of the field. So again, if we're here and this is our zone, we have to look at our quadrant like right there, which means that we're going to try to bait a route that's not in our quadrant. So let's say he's here. So right now, we're going to sit there and bait that route. Let's say that angle route's going down. As soon as we see that he's on an angle, we're going to take our user and jump right back to the other end. Again, it's all about knowing where your quadrant is, and it's going to help you guys out when it comes to becoming a user. Now, the last and final tip. Besides knowing how to do your job, obviously you have to know exactly what kind of coverage you're in, or what kind of adjustments that you're doing. So say we're in a cover 2. Let's go ahead and take Burns and put him over there, right? So say we're in a cover 2, you have to know the weak spots of each of your coverages, and that's pretty much it, right? Once you get to that point where you know the weak spots, to become the best user you can possibly be this year specifically, you have to get comfortable using the switch stick. I did drop a video on the switch stick on the channel. I'll link it down in the description so you guys can see it if you guys are struggling with the switch stick, but it's something that will make your user stand out ahead of the rest. It's going to make your defense stand out against passers way ahead of the rest, and it's just going to frustrate your opponents when you are, when you finally access this skill and learn to perfect it, you're going to absolutely dominate. So again, staying within your quadrant, we are playing a cover 2. And this is going to be the biggest thing that you guys might learn when it comes to the switch stick, because it's something that will help you guys out. So right now, this is our quadrant. It looks a little big because we got the, we're down near the line of scrimmage. But again, if you're guarding a route, and let's bring the Texas route again, you're going to take your user and you're going to follow that route up until he reaches your quadrant. Then you are going to switch stick and end up using this guy. So you're flicking your right stick as you go over and over and over again. So you're going to be able to sit there and go ahead and go towards that middle linebacker. Then if that route ends up being open, and you end up leaving it alone over there, and you go, oh my God, I'm following him, but he's outrunning me, right? Now you switch stick to this person. And then all of a sudden that one singular route has nowhere to go because you're going to be switch sticking everywhere around the field. The more you perfect the switch stick, the better your user will become and the better your user will feel, because again, everything is about doing your job. So if we got everything clamped up here, say we put this guy in a purple and this guy is supposed to be in a hook here, this guy has a job to do. And again, the switch stick is going to help out tremendously. So even if we have all this here and these guys end up going on routes that are going towards this side here, we're gonna try to follow with our middle linebacker. But then once it gets to a point where they're going too far, say he's on the drag, we're gonna switch stick. And again, our user is gonna end up having to be involved in trying to guard this route here and trying to get a knockout. It's going to help you guys out tremendously to absolutely learn how to do the switch stick. It's going to make your user feel and look 10 times better in this game. And it's going to translate over to Madden too, because the switch stick is being introduced to that as well. Whew, that's a lot of talking. But if you listen to these tips, if you practice, you will become a much better user in Madden. Actually, before I head out, this is the final tip, is before you go ahead and start darting towards a route, there's one thing that routes don't do, especially up until the play gets broken. Routes don't change. So as soon as you see this guy going here and then he goes on that angle route, there's an unlikely chance that he's gonna go, oh, I'm in an angle route, you know what, let me go corner route. You know what I mean? There's a very unlikely chance of that happening. So until you see that that's the case, that final break that receiver makes, that is when you're going to want to hold turbo and just go. Okay. So you don't want to hold turbo until you have an exact moment where you need to know when to go. I think this is probably one of the bigger tips as well that a lot of people fail at, is as soon as they call hike, we're spamming turbo. What that does, that's going to make your user, especially in this year's game, it's going to make your user extremely tired, extremely fast, and that's going to make it so that, oh my God, why is my guy running so slow? Well, it's because you've been holding turbo for the past 17 plays in a row, and he's a human. He's going to get tired. So again, make sure that you're only holding turbo when you're in a dire situation where you need to catch up to a receiver. You don't need to hold turbo. Again, let's bring up the angle route again. You don't need to hold turbo while he's here. Okay, say this guy's blitzing and this guy's blitzing, right? So this entire area is wide open. You don't need to hold turbo while the angle route is here. You need to hold turbo while the angle route is right here. So you can either try to catch up, try to jump the route underneath, or just try to keep up with the route in general. That's unfortunately one of the main things about Madden that a lot of people overlook, is the fact that you need to slow down sometimes. It's about pacing. It's about inches. It's about everything that you can do. All the tangible BS that people talk about is so true, and it also takes place when it comes to these football games. This is how to become the best user you can possibly be. My name is Pony Montana. Hope you guys appreciate this video. I will see you guys in the next one. And as always, 2 fingers, deuces, and peace out.